Hello! The most common thing people say to stand-ups is...
Oh, it must be so hard being a comedian. I could never do what you do.
And whilst we soak up the acclaim from nurses, firefighters and soldiers telling us how brave we are, the truth is, it's not that hard. The only prerequisites for success in comedy are being funny and being able to get up before 6 p.m. However, a new study suggests that life may be getting harder for those who face significant barriers to work from ill health. Researchers from Oxford and Liverpool found that the government's work capability assessment, the Fit for Work test, which decides eligibility for disability benefit, could be having a huge impact on the mental health of those undergoing it. Research claims that the test could be associated with as many as 590 extra suicides, 279,000 reported cases of mental health problems, and 725,000 extra prescriptions of antidepressants. Now, I know what you're thinking. Comedy not looking so easy now. You've chosen this as your topic. The work capability assessment has always been controversial. It was introduced by the Labour government in 2008 to assess entitlement to disability benefits. In 2012, the coalition made criteria more stringent. But how stressful can this assessment be? This, from page 19 of the Revised Work Capability Assessment Guidelines, Volume 7.
In this area, it was felt that infrequent loss of consciousness would not substantially impact on a person's ability to work.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Our receptionist is unconscious.
To fully understand how the assessment might make you feel, let's look at it from the point of view of a specific illness. Now, obviously, subjectivity is a real problem here. So, I have decided to focus on... incontinence! Yes, that's right. From pauper to king, left wing to right, we've all had a day at the office where Imodium doesn't quite scratch the surface. And we'd pay a month's wages to be separated from the rest of humanity by 2 floors, 3 locked doors, and a moat. But imagine that that feeling is a monthly, weekly, daily, or hourly problem. Let's see how the WCA guidance advises assessors to deal with claimants. Firstly, let's get down to some detail from page 36.
Extensive evacuation describes the situation where leakage could not be contained by the use of pads. Therefore, minor degrees of soiling would not be considered where pads could be reasonably used.
Now, I can see how receiving that judgment may be stressful. However...
considerable advances in the management of incontinence have been made in recent times.
So, every cloud. So what would cause me to be entitled to incapacity benefit?
Extensive evacuation or substantial leakage, such that a change of clothing and cleaning would be required. It does not reflect lesser degrees of dribbling or leakage.
Can you imagine how demeaning and inhuman it must feel to have a stranger score your level of incontinence? A stranger who is advised that only if it requires a change of clothing is it seen as a significant impairment to work. Now, if my girlfriend's at home, I've been known to cover the sound of my toilet habits with a running tap, an extractor fan on full, and classic FM at top volume. Ideally, Wagner. For many sufferers, incontinence may be the symptom of another condition, for example, MS. Luckily, the document does make provision for the impact of poor mobility on people with incontinence. Sorry, I've misread that. The document made provision for the impact of poor mobility on people with incontinence following a tribunal. From page 107.
Within the history of daily activities, you should inquire about adaptations that they might be expected to have made to ensure they are not incontinent. You would also look to demonstrate issues around their ability to rise from a chair and move within the examination centre. If there are none, then it seems unlikely they would suffer continence issues due to mobility restriction within a workplace.
This piece of guidance perfectly illustrates how nasty the WCA is. Firstly, the tone is unrelentingly suspicious. Secondly, it is patronising in the extreme. To think that anyone would not make adaptations to ensure they are in control of their bowels. And finally, that your medical diagnosis can be demonstrated by your ability to get out of a chair in a test centre. So, for example, if you have MS and you're in remission, you may well be told your incontinence is not severe because you were seen getting out of a chair without significant difficulty. There is a tragically ironic ray of hope. A study carried out in September 2015 by the Multiple Sclerosis Society found that over a third of claimants found the assessment procedure so stressful that it caused their condition to deteriorate or relapse. So, over a third of claimants found the assessment procedure so stressful that it caused their condition to deteriorate or relapse. So, fingers crossed, you'll find it so difficult that your symptoms will flare up, getting you the financial support you deserve. The WCA is perhaps the most multifaceted, blunt tool the state has ever created. The question we have to ask is what we want from our benefit system. If we want to embarrass, confuse, and alienate poorly people, it ticks every box. But as those who suffer from illness, their carers, family, and physicians know better than anyone, you can't communicate someone's experience of pain or disease by ticking boxes. At the very least, we should demand it doesn't make people sicker.